Hello and good evening. I nearly completely forgot how to change the what's being shown on the screen there. I nearly stopped the bloody stream by mistake. Thankfully I didn't, because that would have been a good start to the evening. Stopping it before I've even started. Welcome to Tuesday Night Edits. It is episode 21, I think. Was that at the front of the? Yes, episode 21 it says. So therefore it must be. That's a long time I've been doing this. So thank you for bearing with me, everybody who regularly shows up and watches, and everybody who watches and on catch up later on. If nobody was watching, I wouldn't be doing it. So thank you very much for coming, for always being part of Tuesday Night Edits. So yeah. So welcome again. I'm Andy Gray, if you don't know me already. I work predominantly with intentional camera movement, multiple exposures, and general abstract landscapey type of stuff. So you'll not really usually see a straight photograph out of me at any time, really. And even if it is a straight photograph, there's probably had a bloody lot of editing done to it. So, purpose of tonight, as always, is, well, maybe not as always. Yeah, there may be variances coming along the route along the way at some stage, but the purpose of tonight is to edit hopefully a few images from data I made on Saturday when I was out at Dunstanburgh Castle with Alan Lightly, out bright and early, or dark and early, and waited for the sun to rise, and it didn't really quite rise. Certainly not the way I was hoping it would. But anyways, struggled on for half an hour, and then pretty much as we were coming away, I felt I got some very, very good data and images to work with. So we're gonna look. If you've seen my Twitter recently or Instagram the last couple of days, I've put out a couple of images on them from some of the crap data that I got at the beginning of the shoot. But you know, once the sun was up a bit further, I finally got my movements working out correctly or pleasingly. Then I got some better shots. So we're going to work with some of them, which I haven't had I've marked them out, but I haven't worked on any yet. So I've only been working on the rubbishy data, which I'll show you in a second. So the entire purpose really was to go out on Saturday morning. Was due to I've got an exhibition coming up next year, and the gallery owner kind of said, you know, all like Northumberland coastal scenes will sell, so plenty of them. So I was like, okay, right, more castles, more harbours, more this, that, and the other. So go for the traditional coastal, Northumberland coastal scenery. Certainly for part of it, and just but basically put my own twist on it. So I thought, right, after all this time, I still haven't got a decent shot of Dunstanburgh Castle, especially from the southern side. So I thought, right, try to get that one out of the way as soon as. Evening, Alan. Good to see you. Try to get that one out of the way as soon as possible. I think, unless some of the data that I've got works really, really well, I'm going to have to keep on going back, because I do have a certain look I am after. But it all depends on how things work out, because you're never really sure what you've got until you've blended everything together and played around for many, many hours. So that's what we're going to do tonight is process hopefully a couple of images. You never know. The images that I've worked on so far, out of 2 sets of data, I've got 6, 7 images out of, using one of my tricks where I just keep on going and then saving versions as they go along. So you can get a lot of work out of just maybe 2 batches of processing. But before all that, though, a couple of, well, I was going to say points of order. It's not really a point of order. A couple of things that came up in the last week or so, which I always thought was quite interesting. Obviously, we're all, you know, if you're on YouTube or you've photographers that follow YouTube channels and news sites generally, you'll all know about the current state of the mirrorless systems, where Nikon's just released theirs, Canon's just announced theirs, Fujifilm have gone to the X-T3, you know, all this kind of, all no doubt fabulous bits of kit. But one video I saw last week was by Ted Forbes, who has the YouTube channel The Art of Photography, and I did tweet this out the other day, and he made a video kind of almost hinting that these companies are kind of missing a trick. There's nothing really new about, built into these cameras. He kind of went through the history of cameras and certain artists that used them through the very early days, right the way through, your Carter Bressons and other people I hadn't heard of. But what he was basically saying is, it's all well and good having all these fancy cameras and all that, but what's everybody doing with them? Where are we? Where are we pushing boundaries? Where are we doing anything new, anything revolutionary? And I thought it was a really interesting video. Some of it was a bit technical and maybe it's a bit highbrow for certainly me. But as somebody who does use a 10-year-old camera, and really the only reason I want to upgrade, if you can call it an upgrade, is so I can use video, because my camera at the minute doesn't have a video capability. So that's probably one of the only reasons I'm wanting to upgrade. Maybe a little, a few more extra megapixels, just to be more comfortable printing a little bit larger. But one of the points that he made was, if all these camera companies turned around and said, right, we're not making anything new for 10 years. There's no new development, no more research, no, just shutting all that stuff off, and they're all they're going to do is sell what they have at the minute. So obviously at the minute, you've got your brand new Canon mirrorless and all this kind of stuff, and your high-end DSLRs. So 10 years with no new gear, and basically he said would be fine, and of course we would be. These current modern cameras are marvelous creatures of taking pictures, and making video, and all that kind of stuff. The rate things are progressing is marvelous. Evening, Liam. You fell for the hype of the XT2. I tested an XT1 back when that was first new, and it took a long time to get used to, is all I'm saying. Evening, Paul. Good to see you. So yeah, if when I've finished the episode and whatever, I'll stick the link to the video. But if you basically search for the Art of Photography YouTube channel, I thoroughly recommend watching that video. And the other classic quote that he said, which I thought was brilliant, one of the best photography quotes I've heard ever, was going on the way everybody, like lots of these commenters have been going on and on about, oh, there's these new cameras, they've only got one card slot, etc., etc. My cameras have always only had one card slot, and his quote was, Henri Cartier-Bresson didn't have two card slots. Evening, Stephen. Thank you very much for coming along. All good here. So yeah, definitely watch that video. Especially, I suppose you're coming here for something a little bit different from your normal photography channel and landscape photography channel. You know, where we do push the boundaries a little bit more than normal people. So you know, do hit that video up. It's just him talking, but he does come have some interesting points. The next one I want to mention is, well, another video really, is Greg Whitten's latest video. Just a, he's calling them quick shots, but it was still over. It was over 12 minutes anyway. Says he that regularly sits here for an hour and a half. But Greg did a little video on the tone curve and the use of it, and how you can get more natural, you know, natural processing from using that, rather than just you know, jumping into Lightroom and going highlights right the way down and shadows all the way up, that kind of thing. With a tone curve, you can be a lot more subtle and produce more natural, a more natural look to, you know, to the finished image. And yeah, I do. You know, he said that a lot of certainly YouTube videos out here where you do the tuition and stuff like that, they do just seem to hit the Lightroom sliders, slide here, slide there, and they, you know, they rarely touch the tone curve. But yeah, I mean, it was an interesting little video, and it should be a great help for anybody out there that's a bit scared of it, because there's nothing really to be scared of it. I use it, maybe not in Lightroom, but I certainly do in Photoshop at times, and definitely I use the tone curve as part of my Analog Effects Pro processing. And in the presets that I've got, and obviously there's the tone curve part of that, that's all pre-configured. Greg mainly worked on like the luminosity and, you know, stayed away from the, you know, the reds, greens and blues, because you can adjust each channel, whereas I use the tone curve, yeah, to give things a bit of an S curve, but also mainly to work with colour. So, you know, more bigger changes with, you know, your yellows and the reds and that kind of thing. So yeah, if you're scared of the tone curve, go and hit up Greg's video on it. Again, at the end of the show, I'll put the link below in the notes. So I think that was it. And before we start, I presume, I know they've sold a couple of spots, but again, for Andrew Atkinson and Ian Burton's Northumberland Pinhole Workshop, which is in a couple of weeks, on the 6th and 7th of October. If you're interested in that, hit them up. I'm pretty sure there's still some spaces left on that. We'd had some takers after last week, which is good. So that's getting run in a couple of weeks' time, and it will be an excellent workshop. So you check them out at pinholephotographyworkshops.co.uk. So there we go. I think that's all the guff out of the way, as we say. Just a note that if you're live, then chat room is open. If you're watching live, everybody's live if you're watching here. Obviously, yeah, chat room's open for anybody that's sitting around watching live, and if you're watching on catch up, please do leave a comment in below the video, and even if you're watching live, leave a comment. Be great to get your feedback on things going forward. And yeah, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you're not already. All that. I think that's pretty much it. Hit the bell icon so you know when I'm live. Any more other things that I've got to mention? That's probably enough. Probably enough to make you turn off, to be honest. Right then, let's get underway. What I am going to show you first are these first images that I made with the first batch of data. There's one shot that you'll not really ever see me switch to the library so it moves quicker. A straight image, and that was the sunrise we had to deal with on Saturday morning. Not ideal because there was that cloud on the horizon, kind of blocked things off. Tad annoying. What I was hoping for was a strip of a strip of space just for the sun to come through at the from the horizon, cast a lot of beautiful light onto the castle, but it didn't happen. So unfortunately, we just got duller shots of the castle. So here's one of the first shot I made. Just combined the usual 5 layers together, moved things around. Analog Effects Pro turned it around, this that kind of thing. My usual way of doing things. Another shot with using exactly the same 5 shots, just developed in a different way. So if you can, well, you probably will believe it, but if you can believe it, those 2 images are from the exact same 5 images. And then these other 5 along the bottom, these are all made from not those set of images, but another, I think 6 images these ones were made of. There you go. I've got 5 images out of this. Some I like, some I don't. I like them enough to save them, but generally, I think this one I posted on Instagram yesterday and Twitter. I think, yes, I did. It's probably my favourite of the thing. This one was the favourite when I was actually editing it, and then actually going away and coming back to it. It's not. It might grow on us again, but generally, if I don't like it after a day, it's kind of on the wane and it's going downhill, and it's not going to be a favourite of mine very long. So let's just expand this out. So you see from here, these are the images I started off with. That first shot was just made from images such as this. This is the bad data, which I thought that I had to work with. I wasn't that enamoured with it, but later on, I felt that this was much, well, maybe it's not that one, but it's good for reference. But some of this data was very good. Not a lot of detail, but just enough to get the shape of the castle across. So very much looking forward to working with this data. Especially that one. Really liking this shape in here. And like what I was trying to do with the movement was to make it look as if the castle was sitting on the top of the hill. I mean, it does kind of sit on top of a hill, but actually make it more of a curvy mound rather than just a flat outcrop. So we're just gonna make some images. I'll certainly hope to bang one out of these. I think I might start off with this batch. So maybe it's from here. Pick that and then to there, just so there's 5 of them to work with. What I am going to do, I'm just going to knock this light off so I can actually see. Just leave that side light on, because one of the issues I seem to have is that I can't see the damn screen for the bright light. So, like I said before, I haven't done any work on these yet. So we're just going to go through the basics to tidy these up. So lens corrections to start with. Dust spot removal. There's that damn big spot on the sensor again. Even though these were probably shot at f4, f5. So f5, 1.3 seconds, ISO 100. Got decent movement. It wasn't overly bright, so it's easy to work with. I'm just going to remove that so I can see properly. And and then at this point I can work on. Will you stop it? These being able to preview presets is quite good, but can be damn annoying as well. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to use this preset to start with, just to speed things up. Literally, this is just a, you know, some color adjustments. I probably will have to repeat the, yeah, I thought so. Repeat the lens calibration thing. What the hell was that? Thought something had gone bang there. Are we still online? Yes. It's alright then. So that preset adds a bit of red, that kind of thing. Detail, I'm just going to make sure it's clean, so yeah, it is. And cool. I'm just going to warm this up, because I think, in particular when we having to deal with horrible, you know, horrible blues in the sky. I'm going to knock the shadows up a bit. I'm going to ignore Greg's video and not use the tone curve because he'd be moving it up here and things like that. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use the sliders because we're going to be more precise later on. Might just knock the vibrance down a touch. A little bit of haze just to soften things. So hopefully, and that should all sync across there. And we can just open them in Photoshop. So while that's doing that, I'll just remind you that my presets are available to purchase. My Analog Effects Pro 2 presets, I should say. And not long after the broadcast ends tonight, these will be going up in price. I was meant to put them up last night, but I forgot, and then Rob Knight kindly went and retweeted saying, get them while they're cheap, and so I've had to let them stay a little bit cheaper for an extra day. So well done to those people who bought them today. You've managed to get them a little bit cheaper. So if you head to bit.ly.com/AEP2 presets, that'll take you to the link to purchase them, or there's the link down below. I think it's at the top line of the description. Wrong button. Right, that's now all. They have all now loaded up, so you can see all different layers. There you go. They've added quite a bit of colour and a bit of contrast. So we'll see how these get on. So straight off the bat, as I usually do, I'm just going to cycle through the blend modes, see if anything catches my eye. Although with these, I am thinking staying away from detail. So not some, you know, I'm not going to be. I don't want to be retaining this much detail. I don't think. You did, Paul. You snuck in at the end there. You lucky bugger. Well, I'm saying, look at the end. Certainly, it'll probably be 10 o'clock. Maybe is when they get transferred over to the new price, but. Well done on sneaking through. Yes, I'm going to look at, almost treat this more of a watercolor fish type of look about it, rather than a, you know, a very definitive edged, maybe it's acrylic kind of feel about it. So I am looking to have things a bit more washed out, and it might even be that I actually take out this top layer that's got all that hard edged detail in. But we'll see how it goes. We'll get down to overlay. you know, these kind of things, you start getting some interesting shapes. I'm already quite enamoured with just what's being shown. You know, the gate. If you know the castle, you know that this is the you know, the remains of the gate, one of the main gatehouse. There's another gatehouse that's about a foot tall around the corner, but this is the impressive bit everybody knows and sees as they're walking along the coast. So we've got that. That looks good there, but obviously we've got this horrible dark splodge down here, which isn't going to be very good or very helpful. Oh, well, good luck with them, Paul. Hope you enjoy them. And do remember to tag me in on any results you feel comfortable with showing. You never know, I might retweet them or something. Always good to see what everybody's doing with them. See, there's just taking out this second layer, or brings in the hint of, you know, that the remainder of that remaining part of that wall, and not turrets, towers, whatever they were, and also reduces the darkness in here. So just gonna continue. But I see, taking out this third layer, you know, I really like how soft these edges are here. But I take that third layer out, and then they become hard, a bit more defined, and I'm not as keen on that, so I'll leave that one in. Take this one out, and that's, you know, that's retaining the softness along the edge, which I quite like when I take it out. So that's an option to touch that one. And this bottom one, yeah, I don't like it when that one comes out. So certainly there's an option of taking this one out. What I will do is reduce the opacity in this corner, probably on this top layer, because I just want to get as much light into here as possible. So what we are going to do now is, which one is that? Yeah, that one. So that one, just going to create a new layer mask there using that button there. Get the gradient filter out, you know, the gradient tool, and just draw a simple gradient across there. Maybe it's a bit better than that. And I do have the multiply blend mode for that gradient, for that. So yeah, Paul, thanks for joining in tonight. Yeah, do watch up and watch on catch up. See what ends up coming out at the end. And I'm gonna take this one out as well. I'm just gonna. I always do it the wrong way around. So I'll just scaling this back just a touch, and a soft grad, and that's, you see that's taken a lot of, brought that a lot more detail out of that. I'm saying detail, it's not exactly detail, but it's not pure black anymore. See, we're away from, on your histogram, we're away from pure black. We are pretty high on the lights though, so that is an issue, but we can adjust that as well, and we're going to use a tone curve to do it. So one of the things about tone curves is you can maneuver the end one around, and I'm just going to, when it's right in the corner here, that's when it's at its brightest, in this top right hand corner. So I'm just going to bring that down, and you'll see that the histogram comes away from that, the top end of the histogram. So we've gone from those whites or near whites have now been scaled back. And the other thing we can do is, if I get this the right way around, yeah, is actually the same principle, is just take that away from the corner, bring it down, and it'll start taking those highlights from being white, and they're now there's now got a yellowy tinge to them, because the negative, this is the blue tone curve, so the negative of blue is yellow. So if you come below the the middle line, then things are going to turn blue. You can bring the bottom end of it down as well. See, it's turning these areas yellow, and if you push them up, turns them blue. So get rid of that, and same with the greens. You can make them a lot redder just by bringing them across there. I can see why people do get a little bit scared of the tone curve, because it can get out of control very quickly. But it's worth playing with, I think. So I don't want to add too much red in here, because we are going to be probably adding a lot of red as we go along. But I think that's a decent starting point. I'm just going to have a bit check in this area here, see what it's like. Now all I can see is dust on my screen. Typical. But yeah, I think it's a reasonable starting point. Obviously, as we're going to Analog Effects Pro. Evening, Andrew. As we're going to Analog Effects Pro and we turn things around, then that dark area is probably going to disappear and impact on the rest of the image in another way. So yeah, so you can see just from that turn curve, that curve layer, how we've gone from almost blown out white to something a little bit more subtle and with a bit of a yellow cast. So there we go. What do you mean red? You didn't have any red to print this time. Little joke in the chat there is that Andrew's been attempting to print some of my work, and he's having a bit of a nightmare with it, because that's the colours I use. I thought it was the blues, greens, and stuff like that you were having issues with. I haven't passed any red onto you yet. Just wait. Red's the problem colour. Blues and greens is easy. Right then, so we are at that stage where we can just fire into Analog Effects Pro 2. Start that up. Across so we all see. Looking down the presets, just as a look, first initial look, Autumn Fall looks quite promising. Bamborough Ponds looks very promising if you're thinking watercolor kind of thing, watercolor kind of look. Immediately that's screaming out at us to use that one. Looking down, a lot of these depend on positioning. Obviously we've got an image that is predominantly on the left hand side, so obviously when you reverse it and these presets showing how it's reversed, chances are all this white stuff, maybe this area is actually up here somewhere and it's not impacting on anything. So in that case, I'm kind of looking at these presets as starting points for colour, rather than just a one click I'm done, or one click and a bit of tweaking. So I can see plenty of options here. Something like this, the Grasmere Scene preset looks quite promising. I must say, preset previews always look promising, and when you put them in, when you actually make them affect the actual image, they can look pretty bad. So going up a little bit more. This one, Churchill Sketches, looks quite promising. Edgeley Grass is kind of it's Autumn Fall but a bit darker. So yeah, there's a I think I would say there's a couple of options there, composition wise. This one where there's just that streak leading into the castle, and then stuff, the rest of the image just falling away from it. Kind of like that shot I showed before, which I might be able to bring up. Kind of like that shot, you've just got that one streak. Let's go back. All right. So let's start working on some. So just gonna have a quick look at this one. Yeah, well, if you do a good job on, if you've done a good job on the two that you've just sent us, you might get a job print an exhibition. You never know. So I pity your ink tanks, though. So colour-wise on this looks pretty good. It's obviously quite dark, so we'd have to address that because it's pretty much one way. Immediately I'm starting to not like it now. Quite a bit of green in here, which can be changed, obviously. And then it gets better again. So you get to the point where you quite like the way it's affecting the image, and then you start playing away, rotating, and see what you've got. Yeah, quite liking something like that. Obviously this corner is a bit of a problem, but there you go. So yeah, we'll not look at that one, but this preset, Barbara Ponds, did immediately jump out at me, and it still does. So I think I'm looking at working on this one. And really, I could nearly click save now. So thankfully there's hopefully not much to do to this one. It's a nice light image, which I do like now and again. Looking at a lot of my work, you wouldn't think of that, but I do like a light one now and again. Not too many. So I'm just going to play around with this second exposure, this one that overlays and then affects the data below it. Just play around with positioning. Really quite liking this deep red on the corner. Like that, Andrew? A deep red. I'm sure there's a red cartridge on in your printer. I'm sure it would work nicely. And just small movements of this layer could make big differences. But yeah, I really quite like that. This flash of red here. But maybe he's doing particularly like the positioning. I'm not overly keen as that it is obviously this area of the base image flipped around and upside down, because you can see all the other grooves. I do try to get away from that. So I may look at spinning some blur onto it, and it's just a case of getting to that sweet spot. I'll actually expand out. Oh, now we're getting there now. Right, this is where I start getting quite excited at times. Quite liking that. Just check that. Yeah, just a touch under 50%. Oh. Yeah, I knew when I got to this part of the data I got on Saturday, I would get some decent something decent. It's certainly looking decent. Just going to check some of these modules on here just to see how they are affecting the image. That's too much. If you watched me for a while, then you'll know how Analog Effects Pro 2 works. There are other modules which you can add, but the others kind of tend to. Analog Effects Pro was always about recreating old cameras and the effects that they have. So lots of dust and scratches and light leaks and things like that. But I always used it for its color grading. Well, if you can call it color grading, it's color. So obviously, as it tries to mimic old, out-of-date film and that kind of thing, then it's creates some very pleasant color to me. And so that's probably why a lot of my images are a pain in the arse to print for Andrew. Maybe it's because they're not straight up and down, reds, reds and blues and that kind of thing. And why there's almost what I would call natural colours. So your reds and soft greens and that kind of, and yellows and oranges. A lot of that around it. Just check the lens vignette because I don't think there's a little bit on there. I could do with or without that. Not sure. Looking at two screens, obviously one screen's not really calibrated properly, so I can't really judge that. And this one, I'm not sure whether having the lens vignette on is then enhancing that these areas are actually these areas up here. So it's a bit of a trade-off, I think. Just one of them things you experiment with. Spend an hour clicking on and off, convincing yourself it's the right thing to do. Yeah, I think it'll just a smaller strength is, I think, more preferable there. And then switching this off makes me realise that this sky is quite green. So I would like to get rid of that green up here. So knocking that off, you can see that turns it a bit more white and bluey, but then affects these colours down here, which I don't particularly want. So, because I really like this at the minute, and the only thing I'm going to try is to see if these lines will blur out using a rotate. And lens levels, minimal work there. Maybe just look at changing the luminosity. Send that back to normal. That's a bit too light. I'm going to lighten it a touch. And so film type, what was I going to do? Faded? No, I don't want to fade it. Back to normal. Yeah, double exposure, that's what we're wanting. So what I'm going to do is go back. This controls the second layer position and rotation and things like that. This adjustment thing here, this controls both zoom, like this, the second layer zoomed and rotated. So what I can do is pull that out, and that will zoom the image out, zoom that second layer. So look, you can see here it's now lost these definitions, and you can bring that back in to maybe just retain a touch of them. I don't use it a lot, generally, because it kind of washes out all the detail, and I do like to retain the detail. So there's a bit there, and also, and then you can do the rotations, and that will actually blur it. And then obviously you can maneuver the, you know, this is the central point, so it will then start affecting your image depending on where it's located. As you can see there, it's lost quite a lot of the edges there, but if it was here, you know, you still got a few there. And it's another one of them ones where you just play around with the position until you get a result that you want or that you like. You see something like that, then you've got all those areas, all those edges are gone, or nearly gone. It was up there where it had pretty much gone, yeah. Just going to scale that back a bit. About there. I think that'll do. Quite liking that. Yeah, really quite excited by that. So, just going to OK that. That'll bring us back into Photoshop. And then I think we'll just head straight out into Viveza, just to try to deal with this green sky, which I don't particularly like. Viveza, there we go. Actually, while we're there, this is almost reminding me of what did I just do? No, I've got to redo it again. Presenting that one. So that image kind of reminds me of that. If you can get a decent shot of it, you can see it right. Is this is a shot of Dunstanburgh Castle from down on the field in front of it, where they play cricket. And it's a similar kind of image, which is probably why I'm liking this one we're making tonight. It's Andy, just break the glass in it. That's probably why I'm quite liking this one. Right, yeah, there is for some reason it came out of it. Let's go back into that. I'm just going to try to address the green in this sky, and if I can't quite address it, we're going to another trick in another Nick product. Should be able, excuse me, should be able to sort it out. Yeah, I think we're not gonna get too much out of that. So what I'm basically doing there is just seeing how it is actually going to take that green out on the whole image. But what I'll actually do is drop in a control point and just do the sky on the control point. So all I've got to do is remember it's 220 and minus 14. No, that doesn't do it. So control point, drop control point in there. Was it 220-ish? Minus 14-ish. Oh, for God's sake. Quicker just to type it in, wouldn't it? And that was 7. And then we just copy these points. Oops. Until I get all the areas that I feel is a bit too green. So hopefully you'll be able to see there there's a good bit of difference. Just takes that green out of a touch. I think you can, I was going to say you can work with a pat, make it a bit more opaque. Oh, it's size, isn't it? I'm talking about yes, right. Yeah, happy with that. So just okay that, and I'll go back to Photoshop. Good God, 51 minutes. Not sure we're going to get 2 images out tonight, but unless we stick with it. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Maybe it's just a tiny bit more refinement on it, but pretty decent for a first crack with that good data which I thought I had. So yeah, quite happy with that. Something, you know, that printed on a textured paper would look very nice. Plenty of reds for Andrew to struggle with. So I'll just save that. It's gonna take a bloody age, isn't it? So while that's saving, yeah, just a reminder that Andrew's pinhole workshop in a couple of weeks' time, 6th and 7th of October up here in Northumberland. If you're interested in pinhole photography, do check them out. You get full details from the website pinholephotographyworkshops.co.uk. And we're still waiting for it to save. Come on. There we go. I mean, it's probably half a gig of an image, like so. Right, then see if I can knock one out quickly. Go back to this very late data. So this, I was going to say, this very wishy-washy stuff. Yeah, right. So that one would be, maybe it's not that one. Not that one. That one. Right, 4 images. Right, so quickly we're going to do this as quick as possible. Again, just clean up the image. This one I'm not going to use any presets. Just going to whack in my usual settings. Just going to warm it up a touch. Just a wee bit. Bring them highlights down. Come on. And dust spots. Just a roll one there. Is there a hint for one there? Might have been something in the movement. And we're going to apply it to these 4 I've picked out. Sync. Hi Wendy. Good to see you. Right, they're all synced up, so just going to chuck these into Photoshop again. Come on. So slow this machine is. Well, it's not that slow. It's a hell of a lot faster than the old one. Right, 4 images all blend, all there. So blend these together in some manner. So just straight away scroll through them, see what jumps out. Could be something like overlay. Maybe it's not overlay. Maybe it's not that either. It could be a case of using lighting. Yeah, let's try and filter. Maybe it's not lighting. That one. Darken. Right, let's see what we can do with this then. This is going to be really a case of just maybe manoeuvre layers around. So start with a, maybe it's not that one. And maybe it's not on that low either, right. There we go, there's a good starting point. This one, move tool. Bring that to there. Then bring this one in. And it will just, that's just going to sit there anyway. Get the crop tool out and just trim off these edges. Obviously you don't want hard edges when you're using new layers, etc. So I think, are we good at the top? Yeah, we are. Just confirm them. And I think a bit of a tone curve, and I'm just gonna do, that's the wrong position. Tone curve needs to be on top, so it affects the whole image. Yeah, flatten that light out a bit. And about there. I know all about do just try the layers. Levels tab, sorry. And yeah, I think we'll just work with that as it is. So in Analog Effects Pro as usual. See how quick we can get this one done. Obviously the first one came out quite well, so I'm in going through the presets, looks like there's nothing on these shots. But that's all to do with positioning. So just look at a colour. Where was that pink one? You know, get a colour and work with it. Turn that around the right way and see how things work. And it needs to be lighter. I think we were better off when it was that way. Just quick little movements. See what we've got. Quite like that edge here, so it doesn't feel like, you know, you're just solid into the, you know, something doesn't look like you've got much of a foreground. Again, where the image beforehand was very much away from the edges of the image, it was, you know, almost central, but there's nothing around it. Stay there, microphone. And I do like using that quite a lot, which is maybe why I do this kind of photography, is that I'm not tied to, when you're looking at a scene, you've always got a foreground you've always got sky. So using this, I do kind of like to get rid of the foregrounds, so you can see how this, you know, negates the darker bottom. So I don't know whether it becomes a bit more, I wouldn't say spiritual, but a bit more mythical, or not real. If you get me meaning, you're gonna get me meaning. Yeah, something like so, something like that. And up here, I'm just gonna increase the detail, contrast. Maybe not increase it, decrease it. Yeah, I think I'll reverse the vignette so it lightens the edges, kind of like so. So it's very much good for almost a dreamlike kind of image. Film type. Let me change this up because it looks a bit naff. Maybe cool needs to. Yeah, going for the greens, I think. Fantastical is a great word, Wendy. That's way better than what mythical or whatever, dreamlike or whatever I said. Yeah, something like that. That sounds better. And I noticed that the tone curve is missing from this preset. Well, it's not missing, but it's. So what I need to do is add on. No. Add on there. There you go. Just a little bit more control over it. It's a bit yellow, so just gonna change that up. Stay away from the reds. Gonna go green, more of a greeny kind of yellow, so drop the reds a touch. Luminosity I'm just gonna change up a bit as well, just so we can actually see it. And green, man. Yeah, not my best, but it's a quick one. So that's maybe one I'll work on later in a bit more detail later on. Light leaks, that's probably why it was a problem. I think this might be one of my older presets that wasn't part of the collection. Anyhow, I think it's an image. It ain't great, but we'll just confirm that and send that back into Photoshop. That bug got into me orange. Come here, you little horror. So it's something different and it's away from my usual reds, so quite happy with that. And we'll drop a save on that. Confirm all that. That's saving. And so that's 2 images we've got today. Where are we? That one. 3. Give that a 3 so I can find it. That's what I do. Oh, hold on a minute. Get me rid of my ugly mug. There you go. That's the better of the 2 images from today. Ah, why did you do that? Oh. That's the better of the two images to get. Better of the two images from today. Really quite happy with that. Maybe it's a bit more finite adjustment just to get it bang on perfect to me, but happy with that. So yeah, I think that's been a productive hour. Whether this one will actually make it into the exhibition next year, who knows? It might go in as something smaller or something on the side. You never know. More and better stuff might come as I go through the autumn and into the spring. We'll miss out winter because it's cold. So happy with that. Happy enough that that'll probably be on Twitter later or Instagram or wherever. Maybe as a square. It might look good as a square. Actually, before we go, let's have a go at that. We'll create a virtual copy, just so we're not doubling things up. Let's go for a square crop. Where are we going? Something like that. Or maybe it's a 4x5. Just gives it a bit more, doesn't it? No decker side of it, so it's not. It's the hint of there. So like with a bit more sky. No, it needs to be about there. There you go. That'll maybe just look a little bit better on Instagram. So thank you very much for watching, those that have stuck with it. It got a little bit rambly towards the end there, but that's what happens when things go well. And the fact that I'm having to talk to you as things are going well is a little bit unnerving, because I might get a little bit too excited, etc. So yeah, really pleased with that image. Look out for it on Twitter and Instagram and that stuff later on. Might even make it available as, stick it on. Well, apart from the fact I've probably got 6 months work to get onto my website, yeah, I think it'll be one of them ones that'll actually make it onto the website. So I am that pleased with it. So thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment below if you've enjoyed it as well. Thank you for being in chat, everybody that's here and still here. It's always good to have you along for the ride. Thankfully, my numbers are fairly small. I really don't know how these more famous YouTubers manage when the chat's just fleeing by. But we're a long way from that, so it's all good. So again, the links I mentioned at the start, I'll stick them in the description below when I end this stream. If you don't follow us already, you can catch us on Instagram and Twitter at there we go, at Andrew S. Gray for both of them. Check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Andrew S. Gray. And my website is andrewsgray.photography. And yeah, the exhibition is sometime next year, probably in about a year's time. So there's a lot of work to do before then, but we'll get there, and hopefully I'll be vlogging about the whole process as the year goes on. So watch out for that series developing. Me and YouTube aren't going anywhere. So keep an eye out. Do subscribe if you're not already. Hit the bell icon for updated notifications, and leave a thumbs up if I haven't said that already. So yeah, I'll do. So until the next one, see you later.